Oh, we're live. What's up, everyone? So this is an impromptu live, and I kind of scheduled it, but here it is. I'm early because I really wasn't planning on doing this today, but here I am. How you guys doing? I'm really, really glad to be here. And listen, I didn't plan on doing a live today, but every once in a while, get inspired, hear something that just lights me up inside. I'm like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this today. Haven't been sleeping in a week. But for some reason, I have this fire in my heart to talk about something. At the same time, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about because, well, I have to draw a word. But before I get into all this really quick, I want to thank everyone for being here, wherever you're watching from, or if you're watching the after, what is it called? The after play, the after live, what's it called? Replay. I'm so out of live practice. It's crazy. Anyway, what I want to talk about really quick before I get into all this is that one of my favorite things about doing lives is I don't have to edit. And that's wonderful because as soon as this is done, I can take the link that goes to YouTube, drop it in Opus, produce clips, and then bam, it's done. And then to convert this into a blog is way easier from that, just because I know how to code. I mean, literally my production time. And my whole goal, by the way, is to get away from technology as much as possible, but to use it wisely and then step away. My production time, which is already pretty good with editing, went from 2 hours down to like 20 minutes. In other words, after this is done, I can have this converted into a blog, published, and even published in my newsletter in under an hour, easy. And if I'm really paying attention, much faster. I love this process. And for those of you out there that are creating content and wanting to host it on your blog, I can't recommend going live enough because it saves so much time. And any of you who pre-record videos, sometimes you're saying the same thing 50 times over. You're reading from a teleprompter, you mess up, start over, you're editing. It's a lot of work, right? And I like to edit. It's therapeutic, but again, just trying to get away from technology as much as possible. So if you're somebody that has a message that you want to get out on your heart, but you're also looking to get the most bang for the buck, I highly recommend live for several different reasons. Of course, I have lots of different tips in my books, and tons in the Merrill Dispatch on my website, JoshuaTBerglan.com, that you can see down here on the screen. You can go there and you'll find tons of free resources, free tips. Most of my published books are there for free also. Now, if you go to Amazon or to another publisher, yes, you're going to pay for it. But on my website, you can read these resources free. I have so many unique little random tips and tricks that will help pull your content and separate it from the pack. And look, I'm not looking for social media fame. That's not what this is about. My platform, where I host 95% of my content, that's where the value is. And I really recommend each and every one of you take that journey into building your own platform and become less dependent on things like social media. And in my case, it allows me, because my platform is built and all of my intellectual property, everything I offer, the courses, coaching, the books, the movies, all of those things are already there. And that's why now I can kind of have more fun with social media and just come on and do lives. And that serves the purpose that I need it to serve. And at the same time, I'm getting to create in a way that feels more natural to me because I don't like reading from a teleprompter. In episode 2 of Spoken Word, the beginning I read from a teleprompter. I didn't even like that. So here I am talking from the heart. Okay, so today, those of you who are familiar with a church called Life Church, they do this thing called At the Movies. I don't even know the name of this movie, but holy crap, I cried like within 3 minutes of it. And not because it was convicting in the sense of, oh, you've been bad, but it was like one of those beautiful messages for anyone who is going out to do something that feels impossible. Like when you started the journey of that path to purpose and you go, okay, I'm going to do this, God. I'm going to do this. This seems crazy. People are going to make fun of me. This doesn't make sense to even me, but I feel like I'm supposed to do this in my heart. And for this message was specifically for those people, I believe. And it was a call to me as well, who I started my journey 10 years ago. But in this particular case, there was a man who went to Poland on his own money to go rescue these Jewish children to save them from the Nazis. And it's not Schindler's List, but my goodness, it was so powerful to me, because what it reminded me of in this was, like, as lonely as the path to purpose can feel, especially when you first start out, you're all alone. I mean, it is the most lonely, isolating feeling in the world, especially when everyone around you thinks you're crazy, when everyone around you doesn't believe in what you're doing. It's maddening, and it makes it so much more difficult. And yet at the same time, it's like, this is why I'm alive. This is why I have to do this. It only makes sense to me, but okay, fine, I'm all in. And the same way was for this guy. I mean, I think even his wife questioned him, like, what are you doing? This is crazy. But then she got on board and started to support his mission. And then, he's still fighting this big battle that seems impossible. They don't have the money. He doesn't know how to raise money. It just seems impossible. And yet he just kept on going because he believed. Like, every day he stepped into faith. He did something to stretch his faith. And because of that, he was able to see all of these little miracles and blessings that popped in his life. In other words, like additional help. And sometimes it only takes one person that you share a message with, or you share what you're going through with, or you share your vision with, and they go, yeah, that's crazy enough that I believe in it, or whatever. And they decide that they sign up and they're going to come support your journey. And there's this point in anyone, like for me, there was a point about 6 years ago, and it's been a lonely journey for 10 years, to say the least. But there was a time where I became very, very aware of all the little small blessings that would show up in my journey to remind me that I was on the right path. And it was never a big thing. It was never like, oh, here's a big fat check of millions of dollars. It was never that way. Sometimes it was a free place to live. Sometimes it was just like a word of encouragement, like out of the blue. Someone drops in the DM saying, hey, I believe in what you're doing. Keep going. Don't give up. Like those become little blessings. Somebody just being there to listen one day. Some days somebody comes in your life and it feels like they're going to be there forever, and they're there and they say something to you that impacts you greatly, and you're like, gosh, I just hope they're there forever, and then they disappear. But then really them disappearing was the absolute best thing that can happen for you. And so it just reminded me of the journey and how grateful I've been for this journey that I've been on, because it's been an impossible journey. Yet at the same time, every day it looks more possible. And it reminds me of, I don't even know if it's a Bible verse or not, but I've heard so long in ministry, when it seems like there's no way, God makes a way. And I've been able to see that every day in my life. I thought for the life of me that I would never, ever, ever when the tremors started for me, I thought I'd be alone forever. Because I never thought anyone would want to take this on, And even though I'm doing better, like I had a lot of thoughts, especially because the family I did have, they couldn't be with me anymore. And I'm not trashing anybody at all. I'm not saying that. But, when I lost my family for a long time because I couldn't be around anyone, I thought I was going to die alone. And that's a really crappy feeling. And on top of that, it wasn't even that. I thought my purpose was done too. I thought it was all over, especially when I couldn't talk anymore. Because the more I used my voice, the more my throat would swell to the point that I couldn't talk and I would just choke. And those of you who know me know I just disappeared for a while. And then, and then after that, I'm like, wait a second. I don't have to be silenced. Like, I can't use my voice, but I can write. And so I wrote 9 books. So anyway, I don't know what the point of all this is. I just I'm so grateful for being wrong and having doubts. I'm so grateful that I've been blessed with an amazing somebody in my life. And at the same time, not just an amazing somebody, but also to have amazing friends and family. I've been so blessed to have so many people come in my life. And for the first time in my life, I'm 46 years old. And I don't doubt that the people in my life are there because, well, they love me and I love them and they belong. And that wouldn't have been possible before. I'm grateful for the truth journey I've been on. I'm grateful that, While I was scared to tell the truth for so long, and then eventually my truth scared people away from me. Well, now the people that are there because they really do love me and they see me for who I really am. And I, in turn, get to love and be loved and share love. And with that said, all of that fuels my purpose even more to fulfill the purpose I believe I was created for. So anyway, thank you all for being here. Like I said, that movie really lit me up today. And I'm on grandson duty this week. So I don't know how many of these I'm going to be able to do, but I wanted to come on here and at least speak from the heart today about a word I don't know yet. So let's draw the word and we'll get to it. Thank you all for being here though. Media is the word. And I'm really excited to talk about this right after this. So today's word is media. And this is not going to be a sales pitch for the record, but I'm going to share with you why I am so passionate about media. Those of you who know me, and the irony in this is that when I first started, before I knew anything about omni media, the metaverse, movies, filmmaking, event production, heck, even really product distribution, there's so many things I've been able to do over the years. It's crazy. But, when before I knew anything really about media, I started with Facebook Live. And kind of what I'm doing now, I'm on Facebook, but I'm on multiple platforms. But even before I knew about multi-purposing content or, using technologies that would distribute to multiple platforms, before I knew that, there was just Facebook Live. And I had a friend come visit me. I was living in Laguna Niguel at the time. He's an amazing artist. I don't know if I should shout him out or not. I don't want to embarrass him or anything, but he came and stayed with me for a few days, him and his amazing wife, and they came and stayed. And I remember him sharing with me, like, Joshua, you need to document your journey. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You need to share your journey. You need to document your journey and show people how you are overcoming. And like one day you're going to want to look back to see not only how far you've come, but you're going to show people how to do it. And at this time, I'm barely out of jail. Like, that was my 6th time in jail. I just got out. How I even had a place in Laguna, it was like that. Everything was a miracle. Everything was a blessing. I shouldn't say my 6th time. No, it was my 6th time. Sorry. Jail visits get confusing sometimes, but nonetheless, when he told me that, I thought he was crazy. He's like, seriously, just share your journey. Go on Facebook Live and share your journey. And so I did. And when I started sharing my journey, little by little, I started to notice people asking to join the screen. And this is when you could add people directly from your phone to the live. And I was like, we're on top of each other talking. And I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then I started just asking people what they were grateful for. And that was the theme of the show, right? And it wasn't even really a show. But one day I just happened to flip the phone sideways. I wish I had my phone on me. I'd show you. Flipped it sideways. And I'm like, wait a second. This looks like TV. Now it looks like the talking heads on TV. Oh my gosh. I'm going to turn this into a TV show. And so I started treating my Facebook Lives like a TV show. And then I'm like, well, wait a second. If I'm a TV show, I need to learn distribution. And I need to learn how to get my message out there. And I want to back up. The reason why I got so obsessed with trying to find a way to get the message out through all of the different avenues was because right as I started doing those Facebook Lives, I started getting the attention of a lot of different brands. And those of you who've known me since day one, and I know some of you are going to see this today, my day one people that have popped around ever since I started doing lives again. And thank you for that. It's kind of confirming to my spirit that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing here, regardless of how big the audience is. It doesn't matter. But the point is that I started getting all of these opportunities from different brands to be a spokesperson. And I was so excited. And I'm like, okay, listen, you guys, and I was very insecure about my past still. I mean, fresh out of jail, like, still like, I'm not all the way clean, but I had been sober, but the after effects of all the drugs I had done and all those other things were still very much there. And like, I didn't have it all figured out, but I was trying. Like, getting a job was always a struggle, because of my mental health challenges. And anyway, so here it is. I have these brands wanting to hire me to be their spokesperson. I remember getting fired from a company called Filorina, which is a hyaluronic acid product out of Sweden. And the lady told me I was too flamboyant. That was funny. If she only knew. Anyway, but I remember getting this deal where they were going to pay me $10,000 a month to be their spokesperson. And I was so excited. I was so excited because for the first time, I was like, wow, I'm going to get paid to be me and paid to do what I feel good about. And this is so awesome. And I was like, okay, wait, but you've watched my content, right? You're not, you know what I talk about. Oh, yeah. I was like, okay, this feels good. So around this time, this is when I am moving to San Diego. And I get this place, I talk myself into the place, and that's a miracle right down in Little Italy, San Diego. I mean, and some of you will remember those episodes too. That's where the mayor was born. And San Diego's a very special place to me. But the day that I was supposed to pay rent was also the day I was supposed to get paid for those brands for the deal to kick in. All day long, I was waiting for the contract to come, and it never came. So I got nervous, and I was like, start calling, like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, we can't work with you because, you're the subject matter of what you talk about doesn't really represent our brand very well. It was so devastating because now how am I going to pay rent? This was all I had. There was no other job. How am I going to pay? How is this going to work out? Like, what am I going to do? And that's when it became me really, really hard that I had to go all in on me, all in on what I could see and believed in my heart I was supposed to do. And I was already trying to do it. I just didn't know how. So when that happened and I started to recognize, well, wait a second, I can treat this Facebook Live like a TV show. And oh, by the way, I forgot about this part. I had already filmed at Fox Business. I did this segment called New to the Street. And I didn't even have money when I went to New York, but like I got everything paid for and everything fell into place. And like, here it is. I'm going to be on Fox Business and my whole life's going to change. I'm not going to be broke anymore and blah, blah, blah. Well, that episode didn't even air. Well, I mean, it aired eventually, but like a year and a half later. And by the way, it didn't help much. I didn't get rich because of Fox Business. Anyway, the point is that I knew I had no choice but to go all in on me. Like I wasn't going to get hired. I wasn't, getting a job. I had no choice. But at the same time, I didn't have money to market. I didn't have money to advertise. And so I had to find a way. And so my brain starts thinking, well, how do I do this? Well, wait a second. So let me download this video from Facebook. And then, like, wait a second. There's going to be some lessons here. So pay attention, by the way, because I'm going to drop some nuggets in here for you to simplify life and things that you can apply to your current business today. I was doing this 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Anyway, so I was like, wait a second. So if I can take this Facebook video and I can put it on YouTube. Huh. Okay. Well, how does podcasting work? Wait a second. Podcasting is no different than uploading a YouTube video. It's just change it to an MP4 to an MP3. The cover art. Huh. Okay. Change the cover art. This is interesting. Okay. So now I started to go, okay, how am I going to do this? And it was all about distribution because I knew I couldn't compete with the people that marketed. So it was all about seeing how I could get the message out, like in every different way, because I needed every advantage I could get to get out there. And little by little, Facebook, then podcast and YouTube. And then I'm like, well, why I got to start marketing the show? And then it was creating apparel. And then I realized, oh my gosh, wait a second. It's the same exact process to create apparel for like a t-shirt, a hat. It's basically the same exact process as making a YouTube video. And on and on and on and on this went. My point is, media, which is the word for the day, media became this, it was like the vehicle for me to get my story out. Like it wasn't, I didn't need giant cell phone towers. I didn't need a giant building. I had all of these new media items in front of me to use to get my message out. And that's all I had. And from that, from the messaging came opportunities to speak on stage. And then ultimately a book. And that book turned into a movie. And if, you fall into getting invited to speak at events, then you get invited to be on set. So then all of a sudden I'm now an event producer and now a movie producer. And oh, by the way, that movie producing gave me the opportunity to then act and then be in commercials. Like little by little, I learned every step of media in a way that allowed me to keep learning how everything worked to see this full picture. And by the way, again, I came into the industry from having a skincare line that was publicly traded and distributed globally. So I understood how distribution worked. And by the way, skincare distribution and film distribution is not that much different. And I started to make all of these connections like, wow. And then fast forward to, I was in the Super Bowl commercial. Gosh, I guess it was 5 years ago. I was Brian Urlacher's body double for the Greatest Game commercial. It's the coolest sports commercial ever. And I got to be in that commercial. And that's when it all clicked for me. When I was looking at craft services, I was like sitting in the middle of craft services and all of these business film trucks were centered around me. And I'm sitting here looking at this going, there's like 20 something businesses here for this commercial. How is this like, that's a lot. Like this commercial is like keeping all of these people in business. How do I do the same thing? Like, how can I provide this much value to this many groups of people? And then it hit me. This entire time of learning all of these different aspects of media and the film industry and TV and event production, podcasting, speaking, product distribution, home shopping network, like all of these different things that I was learning, I was like, oh, I'm learning every part of media. Well, how do I become a one-person media company? And that question, while stepping into faith, while being willing to take risk, ultimately, that is what led me to creating Media Company in a Box. Essentially, it's allowing people to become a one-person media organization in a very simple way. Essentially, teaching them how to centralize all of their media content in such a way where they own their intellectual property, but they're allowed to showcase their natural God-given gifts and talents, and then they can express their life experience through all of these different vehicles of media, writing books, documentaries, movies, podcasts, events, coaching, services, products, apparel, all of it, white labeling, custom formulating, every aspect of it. But one person could do it. I know because that's how I did it, how I became a bestseller, how I started winning film festivals, all of it. It wasn't because I went to school for it. Heck, I don't have an education. But it was being able to see, being willing to serve, being willing to say, I don't have the money. I may not have the money, but there's still a way. There's always a way when we have the will. When we have the vision, there's going to be a way, and that vision will become more clear the more boldly we step into faith, the more boldly we trust the process. Will there be failure? Absolutely. Failure is part of it, but we are always going to fail. We're always going to fail. But when we fail, when we're in purpose, we have a reason to get up and try again. Because I remember when I was failing, not living in purpose, I'm like, well, give me some more meth, give me some more cocaine, or, whatever the vice was. It was a lot of vices, to be honest. And I don't feel like polluting anyone's minds today. I mean, that's all in the devil inside me. It's all there. I'm not hiding from anything. I just don't want to talk about it today. The point is, hold on. Let me start over. I lost my train of thought and my head shaking. I apologize about that. Anyway, so what I'm trying to say about media was, and where really things became a little bit more purposeful and not about me. Media gave me a vehicle to be heard because for so long I was silenced. Media gave me a vehicle to heal also, because media is where I got comfortable with speaking the truth. Those of you who know me in my early days know that I was working through mental illness and struggles, and I wasn't perfect. Heck, I disassociated on camera quite a bit. I would freak out. I would lash out at people. I had all of these other wild, crazy experiences, but I was airing it all out publicly. And ultimately, what that allowed me to do was get really comfortable with the truth. I had no idea in those moments. What I was doing was preparing myself and then eventually others for a world to come. Because where we're going with this new world, and as technology continues to advance, we're going to see a lot of job loss. And I'm not saying this to spread fear, because ultimately there's this amazing, beautiful opportunity that's available for everyone. We are in a creator's economy, and the creator created us to create. And so when it looks really scary that people are losing jobs and, things are being taken away because of technology and things that, the norm is gone and it's eroding more and more every day, while that can look scary and frightening to a lot of people, the best news I can give you is that the world we're in today is called the creator's economy, and we get to go back to the basics. The creator created us to create. Didn't he say something about creating and multiplying? And the ultimate way to create, I believe, is to tap into our natural gifts and talents. And then media has this vehicle to help get those messages out. There's people like myself that only have my story. I only had my story. I built my media organization centered around my testimony, how I overcame. Again, sharing those stories went into a book, and that book turned into a movie, and that turned into opportunities and other movies and other opportunities and other books and many other things. And now I'm able to teach others the same. There's some people out there that don't have an education to fall back on. There's some people out there that don't have finances to be able to start a business. And the coolest thing about media now is that the power of it is in all of our hands. When I was in Minnesota, when George Floyd was murdered, I learned a lot about worlds that I didn't know existed. When I learned about gentrification and redlining and how how the game is rigged against a lot of different people, minority groups, African Americans. I don't know what listen, I don't know what the proper freaking word for anything is anymore. Those who know me know my heart, so I mean no disrespect by the name. But there's minorities, I don't think it's just African Americans, but there's, African Americans, especially in America, redlining and gentrification has affected them quite a bit. But there's so many other underserved groups out there. But the George Floyd situation, being there for the riots, seeing the police line up against the rioters outside of my freaking bedroom window in downtown Minneapolis, seeing that, but then learning about shadow prisons and civil commitment while I was in Minnesota, and starting to learn about all of these different forms of slavery and other things, these other groups and demographics of people that have been silenced and shut up and marginalized and pushed to the side and ignored. And yet the people with the people with all the money are pushing their agendas in everyone's face. And that's what, that comes through the media, and it influences people, and it makes them think about how much people hate each other right now. That's because of the media. They have us pitted against each other where we hate each other and we're at war. Don't you know that we can take that same power of media in our own hands and use it to create our own narratives centered around truth and storytelling? Those of you who know, the reason when I first started giving away media services for free, it was right around the time when we started the nonprofit media organization. It was right after George Floyd was murdered. And that's where my heart to spread this message, the gospel of the power of media and the power of purpose and other things, but also the ultimate power of media and how we can take this power and right now the power that lies in the hands of a few, we can blow it up and spread it to the hands of millions, people like yourself. I think about all the single moms out there that have been silenced. I think about all the moms that have gone through horrific custody chases or deal with narcissistic ex-husbands. And I know narcissism goes both ways, but I've seen some things up close and personal. And also having done over 700 interviews, I've interviewed a lot of different women and hearing stories that, well, reminded me a lot of who I was back in the day. I learned a lot of empathy through doing those interviews. And I learned a lot about, well, the kind of man that I was. Actually, not even a man. I wouldn't give myself that much credit. Media has become healing for me. It helped me heal. It's helped me grow. It helped me be comfortable with the truth. But it also gave me endless opportunities, regardless of what disability I was dealing with that week. Because even though I'm legally disabled, I didn't get legally disabled because of the tremors I have. I got legally disabled because of my mental health issues that I've been blessed to recover from. Do I still have work to do? Absolutely. But you see, media helped me become fearless. And I shared my story. And my story is what gave me hope. And it's what's given it and provided opportunities. It's also what's created the opportunity for endless revenue streams. And so my passion for teaching media, I think it's such a God thing that media was drawn today. And I was wondering how that was going to work, because that movie, what I said at the very beginning about how it spoke to my heart, like I've been giving away media services for 10 years. Not to be think about that. Most people, they charge you to learn media. They charge you to learn all the tricks. If you look at my resume, I should be charging everyone for every minute of my time, but I haven't done it. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this is because that's what God put on my heart to do and how to be of service. I've never been able to have more joy in my life because of this purpose. And so the point of this message, I guess, is simply this. And I know I talk about purpose a lot, but we all have a unique and amazing purpose. But media is the vehicle that can deliver that purpose everywhere it's supposed to go. And learning these media skills are available for everyone. There's no gatekeepers. You know why? Because I removed all the gatekeepers when I started giving away all the playbooks for free. For so long, we've been watching other people tell us what was right and wrong. And if you've noticed, those same influencers that we've gone to for guidance and wisdom and coaching and other things, look at them. And I'm not going to call out people, and I'm not going to call out the situations that some of you know what I want to talk about. But our heroes, these people that we've put on pedestals, have failed us. When the real hero was sitting right in front of sitting within you right now. You are the hero of your story. God created you to be the hero of your story. Not the hero of my story. Not the hero of your mom or dad or your cousin or your pastor or your synagogues or anyone else's. You are the hero of your own story. And I can't recommend learning media enough. Media as a vehicle to heal. Media as a vehicle to build communities. Media as a vehicle to deliver the truth that we can prove. not opinions. We can't defeat the disturbed, rotten, nasty media that exists now. We can't defeat it with our opinions because we're just in the echo chamber then. But our stories, our truth, our testimonies, how we overcame what we're going through, the love that we're experiencing, the world needs a lot more love and a lot more compassion. Media can be the delivery mechanism for all of that. Media has the ability. I mean, my gosh, I watched, I kind of emotional the last 2 days, but in a good way. But I watched Top Gun 2. Very ending. I cried. I watched Top Gun for the first time. Yes, I've never seen Top Gun, the original, until yesterday. Cried during that. I mean, just, inspirational tears. But think about it. That's not even a real story. Old Yeller's not a real story. Freaking cry every time. Think about your real story. And going back to the very beginning when I told you about the gentleman that encouraged me to start sharing my story because people would want to hear it. And I'm like, no, people don't want to hear my story. Yeah, they do. Well, maybe millions and millions of people haven't wanted to hear it yet. But for the people that have, I'm grateful because it's given me a sense of purpose and it's made for me the work to rehabilitate my life that much more worth it. Having a relationship with my grandson and my daughter has made it worth it. Forgiveness from past exes and people I've hurt has made it worth it. Feeling close to my family without feeling like the black sheep too much. Still the black sheep. But that has made it worth it. And to find love again has made it worth it. To know that the people in my life are there because they want to be there, not because I've paid for them to be there, because I used to pick up all the bar tabs and buy all the drugs and everything else to try to fit in and feel like I belonged. I don't do that anymore. And it was really lonely for a long time because I didn't have friends, and now I do. And it's the most amazing feeling in the world. And honestly, I thank God for that. And I thank God for giving me the vision of what media could do, the influence that it could have if given to the right people, and the opportunities that it can create. So my mission is to build 500 media empowerment centers all over the world to help underserved communities, to help pull people out of poverty, to help break the cycles of addiction, to give hope to the hopeless, to show the human trafficking victim that they don't have to go back to their pimps, to show them that because the saying is, well, the trafficking victims go back because the devil they know is better than the one they don't know. But when you give people an opportunity to live in the purpose they were created for, and you give them a vehicle that can make sense out of the pain and the suffering that they went through. I think about the convicts that will have to wear that label. I'm so fortunate. I mean, as many times I've been to jail, I don't have to wear I don't have any scarlet letters to wear. I should, but I don't. And I'm very blessed for that. So I think about the people that do have to wear those scarlet letters. I think about the men locked up in shadow prisons that have never been charged with a crime, but their life has been taken away from them. They've had their voices taken. And yet so many people sit around waiting for someone else to do the speaking for them, do the talking for them. You do it for me. You be the hero. You go share the truth. I'm just going to go like and retweet your stuff. It's your message someone is dying to hear. Not some paid CIA stooge that's there to psyop you to death. Never mind, I'm not going to go there. I want to, I'm not. All right. The last thing I want to say is this. My other reason I'm passionate about media is because not only does it give people to operate in their God-given gifts and talents and use their life experience as the fuel and all of the revenue streams. Essentially, that's where all the creation comes, is the life experience through storytelling. But my other belief is this: if we are all living in the purpose that we're created for, and none of us have time to be racist, homophobic douchebags. We don't have time to be hateful. We don't have time to be judgy. We don't have time to make fun of people's differences. In fact, instead, we celebrate each other's differences, because honestly, where does creation come from? If we're all doing the same things, talking about the same thing in the same echo chamber, that's where creativity goes and dies. Truth is the ultimate superpower for creativity. You have endless amounts of stories, endless ways to get those stories out. And I believe that not only if we start living that way, we will see our communities come back together. We will see poverty end. We will see hatred and racism and homophobia die off. More importantly, we'll see families come back together. And the world's going to change a lot with the technologies, but I believe it's going to change for the better. And here's why. Because everything I just said about bringing community back together and family back together, a family that creates together will stay together. And we're coming into a time where those same children of yours that are on TikTok making videos and YouTube videos, wasting hours and hours of days on these platforms. Heck, adults do it too. But there's going to come a time where it's going to be all hands on deck, and everyone's going to have to work together. Media is the vehicle for this. So I highly recommend checking out my website. Go under books and resources. You'll see a book called Media Company in a Box. It's free for you. Every bit of research I've done over 20 years is embedded in that book. You can read it. It's a guide. And anyone who reads that book, I'm happy to mentor and teach anything I know. I will not do the work for you, but I will teach you. All right. Thank you all for being here. I hope that made sense. I'm going to check out the comments. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. This is the funniest comment of all time. What kind of shampoo do I use? Hold on. I'll show you. Smart aleck. I have hair if I want it. I get made fun of on X all the time because they're like, call me a bald faggot. I get called that name for some reason. I'm like, dude, I can grow my hair. Just had a mohawk a couple months ago. I use that and I used that. I'm not getting paid, so I'm not going to say their name. That's what I use. And then I shave my head with this and then a razor. Smart aleck. All right. Thank you all for being here. Yeah, I may do another one tomorrow. Who knows? But again, thank you for being here. I had fun. Check out the platform, JoshuaTBerglan.com. There's all kinds of stuff. You could spend like 10 hours there easily or more. Thank you.